Hey, hello leaders. This is Paul Grau Jr. and welcome back to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. So today I want to talk about what I would consider a high-performing leader's greatest resource. And, this is debatable, of course, but this is something that to me, this is definitely the greatest resource because you could have a great team, but if you don't have this one resource, you're not going to get everything done that you probably could get done. And this resource is very manageable, or is it? It may not be manageable, even though we hear about it being managed all the time. Now, the resource that I'm talking about is time. Because high performance leaders, they utilize their time wisely. And, just a little bit, I want to talk about time perspective here because I read something the other day, or I saw something or heard something, I don't know. I heard it the other day about something about how much time we actually have. And I did this thing about, I did some math here and I put together some numbers. Now, say if you want to do something within a year. Of course, we all know a year is 52 weeks, right? 12 months, 52 weeks, 365 days. That's a year. But what about if we have 5 years? What if we're saying, you know what, we're going to get this done within 5 years and we want to, get that done? Well, 5 years is 60 months, 260 weeks, and 1,820 days. Now, I know that seems like a lot. But let's talk about how many years do you have left to work, before you retire? How many more years do you have to live? I'm 60. I'll probably be pushing it if I live another 30 years. So if I think of it like that, I have been alive 2/3 of my life. And I still have a lot of plans. I still have a lot of goals, a lot of dreams, a lot of things that I want to accomplish before they bury me. And if I was just going to say 30 years, that's only 360 months. 360 months, or 1,560 weeks, or about 11,000 days. Now, I know that seems like a lot, and that is a lot of days to accomplish stuff. But if you think about it, you have a lot of goals and a lot of dreams and a lot of things that you want to get done. So you have got to learn to manage your time better. Now, I said in the beginning, can we manage time? Well, everybody has the same amount of time. That's one thing. It doesn't matter if you're the richest person in the world or the poorest person in the world. You have the same 24 hours every day of the year to do stuff. So we think, or we have a tendency to really believe that we could, in fact, manage our time. But really what we're doing is managing the things that we do in that time. Does that make sense? Somebody told me this a long time ago, and it was like a light bulb came on. Because if you think about it, there is no such thing as time management. There's task management. There's priority management. But as far as managing time, everybody's got the same time. And no matter how much you manage time, you're still going to get 24 hours today and tomorrow and the next day. So we have to really think about this because a lot of times that time has a tendency to manage us. We have time restraints that we put on ourselves. We put deadlines on tasks to get it done by a certain time, right? So my challenge to you today is to think about all the things you do on any given day And the best way to manage your tasks so they get time, or so that you have adequate time to do those, is to schedule your priorities first. Schedule them first. Now, you could look at, was it Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? He talks about priorities, and he talks about urgent and non-urgent. And you could do something like that. Or you could just say, okay, these are priorities over this, and this one takes priority. But then we run into another problem, because it seems like almost everything that we have to do is priority. And you know that if somebody else is wanting you to do something, it is their number one priority. So then we have to weigh that. How much of a priority is it? Well, I live by calendars. If it is not on my calendar or not on my schedule, it's not getting done. And so I would challenge you, and I would recommend that you put your priorities on the calendar first. And if they're on my calendar, they're not going to be forgotten. So in order to get your true priorities, that may be some kind of soul searching thing where you got to decide what is the biggest priority. Because ultimately, the things that are the most important to you should be your top priorities. And a lot of times they're not. And I have found, in order to get my top priorities up top where they belong, and for me to give them a time priority, I really focus on aligning my priorities with my values. So I said earlier, we have the challenge today because everything seems to be a priority. Everybody wants their product or their service done now. I mean, I called my pharmacy. I called to renew a prescription. I said, man, how soon can you get it to me? Well, they have a system in place, and all I have to do is open up the app and order it. So if I forgot to order it because it wasn't on my calendar to order it, it's my fault. I got to suck it up and wait until they get it to me. I shouldn't expect them to jump through hoops because something that I forgot. So do some soul searching today. Do some things and figure out what your top priorities are in your life. And I'm talking about work. I'm talking about, personal life, professional life. What is your top priority? What are your top 5 priorities? Because those things should be going on your calendar first. Now, I know we have to work. So if you're out of time, what are you going to do? If you don't have any more time to put your priorities on your calendar, what do? Well, you make time. Maybe you get up an hour earlier, or you go to bed an hour earlier so you can get up an hour earlier. Maybe you go to bed an hour later so you can do extra things. Maybe you go to bed an hour later and get up an hour earlier. What are your priorities? Because we have time to do things. One thing I realized when I was working full-time in the military and going to school, I was taking 2 classes a semester, which was considered full-time because I was taking that was like 8 or 4 classes in the fall, 4 classes in the spring. And that was considered full-time when you're working full-time. So I had all these classes, and when I finished school or when I only had 1 class on any given term, it was like, wow, I have all this extra time. And then when I stopped taking classes, things automatically, very quickly filled those spots. So I was like, how did I ever have time to go to school? Well, I had time because I made it a priority. And I did without certain things. I sacrificed certain things because that was a priority for me. So When I have people or when I hear people say, well, I don't got time to do that. Well, you're choosing not to have time. And I know this might seem very harsh. I coach some people and they're like, well, I don't have any time in the morning and I don't have any time in the evening. Well, again, that's a choice. If you want to be coached, if you want to be the best that you can be and go through one of my programs, and if you don't have that time available when I'm available, you got to make it available or you don't get it. And that goes with anything. Now, if you're married, your spouse needs to be a priority, like a top priority. My priorities in order are God, my wife, my kids, friends and family, and then work. Work is number 5. Now, that doesn't mean that if I'm coaching with a client that I put everybody else ahead of them. That doesn't mean that. What it means is I am going to schedule the other 4 things ahead of work time. And I'm going to make sure that I get the work done, but not at the cost or the sacrifice of my family and of God and of friends and my spouse. They're all going to come first. They're my priorities. And that's living in alignment with my values. So you might have to make some tough choices. You might have to do some soul searching to figure out what your priorities are. But I'm here to tell you, when you do and you get those priorities on your calendar first, whether it's in the morning or night or after work, get them on your calendar. Then schedule in your work calendar wherever, or your work stuff, wherever that priority is. Then you'll see exactly how much extra time you have. And make sure you stick to your calendar. Hey, it's it for today. I'm not saying this is the best way. You might disagree with me. You might think that people are your greatest resources. And that could be too. I can make a case for how people are your greatest resources. I can make a case where I can say, talent, your skills, your hidden skills, they're your greatest resource. But right now, I really believe that time is our greatest resource. And how we manage the tasks into our time is very critical to be a high-performing leader. Hey, that's it for today. Sorry I went a little long. Come on back tomorrow for a brand new episode. And until then, run to your challenges. We'll see you.